Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Chisholm. This is my SSI Fellowship application titled Improving and Teaching Software Performance Best Practices. I have been a research software engineer at the University of Sheffield since 2019. For the past 2 academic years, I have also been leading the module Parallel Computing with Graphical Processing Units to a cohort of around 70 fourth-year undergraduate and MSc students. It's atypical for people in both my role and of my seniority to independently lead academic modules at my institution. However, I am one of the few members of staff here with the appropriate skill set, so the course fell to me. I entered this field after completing both a computer science integrated master's and a PhD which focused on optimizing algorithms on the GPU. Most recently, I had a great time on the organising committee for RSECon 24 and will hopefully join them again in 2025. I predominantly work on projects and handle support requests related to performance optimization or GPU parallelization. Since I became a research software engineer, I have co-developed Flame GPU2, the leading GPU accelerated agent-based modelling framework. Flame GPU2 has now been used in research projects varying from EU-funded biological modelling to industrially funded transport modelling. I also regularly provide free at the point of use support to researchers. This has exposed me to many examples of research code written by domain expert researchers that have learned to write software out of necessity for their research to get something to work, rather than with a formal computing education. This typically leads to them not recognizing efficient algorithms and often leaves easy performance gains on the table. However, formally trained programmers like myself also make mistakes that can harm performance, and even with formal training, many have never used a profiler to investigate what's affecting the speed of their code. So this work has led me to recognise a lack of awareness of performance best practice among researchers, where they're missing easy speedups that can often improve performance as much as 100 times faster. Even small relative speedups can increase productivity by reducing the time spent waiting for results. If this is being achieved on shared resources such as HPC, you can even improve the productivity of others when they're in high demand. Furthermore, software that is running longer typically uses more energy. The research software community is keen to talk about high-performance computing, but this community is filled with specialists who understand performant code or use software written by those that do. This leaves the typical researcher that lacks these skills with little guidance or awareness of the easy performance wins available to them when writing their own code. So I found nothing out there addressing this, and I recently developed and started delivering a carpentry-style short course that teaches researchers that profiling and optimizing Python code is a low-cost exercise to validate or achieve reasonable performance. I did this with highly accessible coding patterns that demonstrate small examples of good performance practice versus bad, which if recognised with the help of a profiler can be easily addressed. At RSECon 24, I then presented a short talk which quickly introduced many of these patterns to raise awareness of my course and how easy some of these speedups can be achieved. The positive reaction to my talk convinced me that there's a strong interest in the national research software community to address this untouched problem, which is why I'm applying to the SSI Fellowship. During the fellowship, I would like to build a new community that would focus exclusively on the research, development and dissemination of accessible performance best practice knowledge. This would help ensure that easy wins have been exhausted from research code. Many of these performance patterns that I've introduced in my existing course that make up the best practice are incidental finds or require targeted experimentation. With access to the wide community of SSI Fellows, I hope to find like-minded individuals from diverse research backgrounds to discover new patterns and address performance in all the different contexts that researchers write code. Although I currently lead a 12-week academic module, the format of pedagogy for lecturing differs to that of a carpentry-style short course, so I would complete carpentry's instructor training to expand my existing teaching skills. I will also add my short course to the Carpentries Incubator to further raise its visibility while progressing it through the incubator's life cycle. To achieve this community growth, there are 2 types of events I would like to run. Firstly, collaborative pattern research hacks. There's tons of unexplored ground to find new performance patterns, whether this be in core Python, specific packages, or even other languages such as R. These events would bring people together to discuss and experiment with potential patterns. The results of these events would feed into the collective knowledge of the community and expand the available training materials. Secondly, I believe this content can most effectively be delivered as a form of hybrid training and support, where researchers are invited to bring their own research code. In this hybrid approach, the first half of the session would focus on teaching researchers to use a range of profiling techniques and identifying where optimizations are possible. In the second half, researchers would profile their own code with additional support from instructors to interpret and identify where better performance practices can be applied. In addition to helping researchers, these hybrid events would also enable the collection of clear case studies to demonstrate the real-world impact of applying performance best practices. Both of these events would lead to outputs that could be published on the SSI's blog to raise the profile of the existing work and hopefully bring more people in. So why me? I have extensive experience as a performance optimization specialist working alongside researchers. I've already spent a year on this work developing educational materials and advocating for performance best practices in research code. I'm fully supported by my RSC team at Sheffield, where sufficient time will be available for me to conduct my fellowship activities and help bring this issue raise this issue nationally. Thank you for listening to my application. I believe this novel approach to research software best practices has a strong potential to normalise validation of research software performance alongside other forms of testing within the software development lifecycle.